when you feel the doors opening, you start working on something, you wake up and you're inspired by it. And then all of a sudden you have good ideas and you're looking for something and you find the thing and you're like, oh man, it just seems like everything is like, I was looking for this and I met this person that opened this door and you're like, I just feel so happy, so grateful. I'm in such this state of flowing with life and it's the river of life is taking me towards something I want to do. Forcing is all of a sudden we're not talking with gratitude. We are frustrated. There's not enough time. I'm pushing things. The world's like this. People are doing this. We're looking at all the differences and all the things that we separate life from. And we don't feel fulfilled or energized by life. Our wellness, mental, physical, spiritual starts to go down. Just remember that in your life. When something's not going the way you want, stop and say, am I forcing things? And notice what you're forcing. I keep hitting the door. I keep not giving. I'm frustrated, whatever. You're going to be putting too much energy into something and realize like this is not what I should do. And you have to let go and flow. And as soon as you let go, you'll start to get clarity and things will start to line up. And when you wake up in the morning, before you go do something, think about it. Am I the person for this job I've assigned myself today? Today I'm going to go do this. I've agreed to go do this thing, or I've said this is my goal for today. If you're in a terrible mood, if you don't feel like you can do it, you have the confidence, then you're not the person to do the job. That person will never, ever produce the results you want. So it doesn't mean don't do the job. It means go get aligned first.
What if the reason you are exhausted, frustrated, and stuck is not because you are not working hard enough, but because you are forcing your life instead of flowing with it? Today's guest, professional life and business coach Brett Baughman, has spent 25 years helping people discover the difference between pushing against closed doors and riding the river of their true calling. In this episode, Brett reveals why you wake up some mornings already defeated, the simple 5-minute practice that transforms emotional chaos into clarity, and the one question you must ask yourself every single day: am I the right person for the job I have assigned myself today? If you have ever felt like you are working harder than ever, but moving further from what truly matters, this conversation will change everything. Brett is about to show you how to stop forcing and start flowing. Let us begin. Well, hello, beautiful souls. We have another amazing guest all the way from LA, Brett Baughman. Welcome to the show.
Hey, welcome. Thank you so much, Catherine. Pleasure to be here with you.
Already, I know, just feeling the vibes. We're going to have the most amazing conversation, as you said. So the way that we love to start, we always love to ask our guest, what inspired you to do what you do today?
Awesome. How long do we have?
Lots.
4 or 5 hours. It's very fascinating because I'm in a season in my life where wisdom is really hitting. There's things in the past that I didn't realize that I did that led me to where I am. So if you'd asked me that question a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it would be different. It would be evolving. It'd be the truth, but it just keeps layering. I'm 25 years into doing this now, so it's changed a little bit. But right now, what I realize is, what's inspired me to do it most of all has been really God's calling on my life. Whether you want to look at it scientifically, biologically, energetically, spiritually, whatever you want to look at, I've been driven down this path my whole life. I really love people. I've always had an ability to easily communicate at an advanced level. My emotional intelligence has always been pretty good, I think. So I've been able to move and navigate through situations, conversations, always being able to see a person for who they are. And that at a very young age made me feel good to feel like I belonged, to feel like I had a purpose, and to help people feel seen and heard and felt. And that has taken a lot of different shapes. But where I am today is in a place where my greatest passion is helping other people find their passion in life so they can live with purpose, so they can make an impact. And I have so much abundance in my life that not only is this a calling, but it pours out of me. I have to, right? It's kind of like my responsibility for giving back for the blessings I've had in my life from the resources, the family. I've just had a wonderful life. And so for me, the purpose is that it's a calling and I love doing it.
So when you talk about purpose, I love the way that you just explain that, because there's so much into that. So for those that actually don't know you, Brett, before we unpack about purpose, because I've got lots of things that have just bubbled up, what exactly do you do?
Great. Yeah. So I am a professional life and business coach. I've studied everything under the sun that has to do with psychology, mindset, peak performance, spirituality, faith. Really what I call myself, like people call me everything from a life coach to a business coach to a counselor, career coach, therapist, etc. I call myself really a peak performance coach because I think it's the easiest way to say that what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you as an individual figure out what you need to do to live your ideal life, to be your best in each area of life, from your career to your relationships, to your health and fitness, to your spirituality, to your personal growth. I'm going to help you figure out what is that recipe? Who am I supposed to be? And so, that's my field. That's what I do is human potential.
Love it. Beautiful. So you mentioned purpose before, which is one of those things that I see a lot of as well. Like people don't, they search for their purpose. What is my purpose?
Yeah.
And they look at external of themselves. And, quite often they find this internal block when they're seeking external of themselves. So maybe I'd love to really understand, what does purpose mean to you?
Yeah, great. So purpose, that's my girl back there saying hello. Uh, Purpose for me is really your calling. It's how you are designed in this world, what you're supposed to do that provides you with the most fulfillment, the most abundance. I believe it's where God and the universe and everything lines up and helps you be in a flow state. A big thing I work on with my clients all the time is recognizing simply in your life when things are flowing and when you're forcing. When you feel the doors opening, you start working on something, you wake up and you're inspired by it, and then all of a sudden you have good ideas and you're looking for something and you find the thing and you're like, oh man, it just seems like everything is like I was looking for this and I met this person that opened this door and you're like, I just feel so happy, so grateful. I'm in such this state of flowing with life and it's the river of life is taking me towards something I want to do. Forcing is all of a sudden we're not talking with gratitude. We are frustrated. There's not enough time. I'm pushing things. The world's like this. People are doing this. We're looking at all the differences and all the things that we separate life from. And we don't feel fulfilled or energized by life. Our wellness, mental, physical, spiritual starts to go down. So purpose is when you start to dial into what that flow is. Who am I supposed to be? Where am I supposed to go? What are the relationships I'm supposed to have? What in life are the challenges that God is putting in front of me that are part of my journey that I'm creating that help me grow? And what are the areas where I'm stuck? The areas where I keep falling back into bad patterns, and I just keep seeing this unfulfillment and this lack in my life. And so for me, purpose is getting on that track to living a fulfilled life.
So it's more like you're saying purpose is more like you said, a calling. You mentioned calling before. So it's more like a pull towards where
Mhm.
it's because there's sometimes I hear people say things like, I have this calling to do that, but that will never make me money. That I can't make a business out of that. Right.
Yeah.
And then they do go forcing. So there's like, then they put the strategy together and they try to get their clients. And I always call the flow, what you talk about, I call that magnetic. How do we become more
Mhm.
magnetic?
Yeah.
So how does one because I see that a lot and I'd like to hear, I mean, because I know you coach a lot of people, so I'd love to
Yeah.
hear that what do you see? And I mean I do see the other side more often than the flow side, because a lot of the time it's
Mhm.
like it's too easy. That can't be right. This shouldn't be what
Right.
I'm doing.
Yeah, I find that, it's all about alignment, right? It all comes back to alignment. So going back again, I always want to say this because I think it's important. Everybody comes through a different doorway, right? Like some people don't have spirituality in life, don't have faith, don't believe in God. Some people don't believe in energy. Some people, everybody has their belief. Like I adopt this, like I'll believe in psychology, but not in hypnotherapy. I believe in, I'll go to a yoga instructor and listen to their dogma, but I won't listen to a coach or a pastor. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't matter where you're coming from, it all works the same. You can be a person of faith, you can be a person of spirituality, you can be a coach, a therapist, yoga instructor. It's all the same. Doesn't matter whether it's spiritual, energetic, scientific, whatever it is, the processes work the same. So starting out, as we talk about everything, I want everybody to take away the filter of like, oh, if we mention this, it can't be that. It's you just plug in whatever you want to plug in because we're going to talk about the actual formulas that work. So when I say like, I believe it's a calling that God has given you, I believe God's created everything. So everything comes from her to begin with, right? So it's like individually, if I take God away for a minute, that's totally fine. I look at myself biologically, psychologically, environmentally. I have skills that are innate to me. Like I'm a mountain guy, I'm a morning guy. I get up and do breath work all the time. I'm super disciplined. I go to the gym. That's me. Somebody else might not be that, but that's how I'm designed. And when I figure out how to utilize that and how to fall into what my norms are or the patterns that inspire me, I become better. I perform at a higher level. When we don't tap into those things, we don't know who we are, we begin to struggle. because of either limitations. Like you just said earlier, I could never make money doing that. I'm not good enough. I don't have this. I'm too old. I'm too this. I'm too that. I don't know how to. All those things. All they do is they put you on a different path because you're supposed to be doing it. I have this desire in my heart to do this thing, and I don't know how to do it. How would I ever make money? So we say, no, I can't, and we take a different path. When what God wants you to do, what your body, what you're designed to do is to say, oh my gosh, I have a calling. I have a desire to do this thing. I don't know how to do this or what it's going to be. How would I make money there? But I have faith. That's what I'm supposed to do. And you move forward with the faith. That's the test of the faith part, right? You can have a strategy and a plan, then you have to believe, have faith the plan's going to work. So there is a part of design and there's a part of surrender. And most people don't do either very well.
So, I mean, and that's a big, when you surrender. I mean, I know for me, it took me a long time to practice to surrender, and that. Oh, I mean,
Hmm.
I think the thing that was driving that behavior as well is trusting myself, right? So
Oh,
when you
yeah.
surrender, it's really like, why can't I do it? Why can't I do it? And it was really because. Do you actually trust yourself, Catherine, to let go? Like, do you always have to be in control of everything?
Hmm.
And I can't tell you, it's changed everything I do. Like
Hmm.
surrendering is not a weakness. And I think that's the other thing, we make meaning of situations. And I think for
Yep.
me it was that I'll be weak if I don't have control, right?
Yes.
Faith is such a big word, but
Hmm.
it's a state
So
of
is
being. It's a
surrender.
practice. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, they both are because they both take letting go of control, right? Like you said a second ago, I always say that surrender is an active behavior. People think it's inactive, but it's not. When you surrender, you have to have made a choice, and the choice is based on something, right? I've been fighting this the whole time. I've been fighting this relationship, trying to make it work. I'm just going to surrender. Or I've been fighting with God. Well, I'm going to surrender. I've been fighting with this idea, this plan. So it's not that you're just deciding to do nothing. What you're doing is believing that what you are doing is right, that you are enough, that there is something else that is working for you, and that you're doing what you need to get there, right? So it goes back what you said, trust. Trust is faith, right? It doesn't have to be faith in God, although ultimately if he created everything, it always is, right? But the thing is I have faith that I've done everything I can. I trust I'm doing my best. And I think that's really hard for most people to say because somewhere down in there, you can almost probe at anybody and break that faith down real fast. Ask a couple questions and they'll be like, oh, maybe I'm doubting. And that's the trick. That's why people don't make those dreams come true. They say, I really have this dream. I don't know how I can make it happen. It's very easy to start chipping, and all of a sudden they give up on the plan. They don't believe anymore. They start doubting, and that's the trick. You have to be strong enough to believe that regardless what happens, it's all happening for you.
I love that. Even the word doubt just made me think about team meeting the other day. I was just explaining to the team, imagine this is our vehicle, it's a hose, right? And when the moment we doubt in what we're doing, it's just think about, because I love using analogies because I'm a visual person. But I know
Hmm.
sometimes when I've got a really big hose in the backyard, but sometimes when I pull it gets a clink. So you still get
Yeah.
water coming out of the hose, but not the full. And that's what
Yeah.
doubt does. Doubt gets in the way of the flow of our
Hmm.
ideas. So it's about making sure that we're aware of these little clinks, but you have to be conscious
Oh, yeah.
to
Hmm.
be. And how does that? I mean, I'd love to hear it from you. I mean, I see that we live in such a very fast-paced world. Everything's always going fast. I mean, how do you practice? I always, even say like to start to think about what you're thinking about. You think about it. We don't think about it enough. We just think
Yeah.
unconsciously, autopilot. We actually don't think consciously.
Yeah. So when I work with my clients, this is something I really focus on all the time. I say there's two ways we're going to be working simultaneously all the time. One is going to be in the creative realm, which is visualizing your future and continually to always, it's a living project, right? You're changing all the time. And as you achieve a goal, then all of a sudden you may realize now I want something else different. So it's always an evolution. It's a living project, right? So I call that the ideal you. We're creating the ideal you. What's that vision? Where do you want to be in the future? Who do you want to be? So we start building all that. So you're like, there's my target. There's the thing that inspires me. Then you have to worry about how you show up every day, right? Because you have an amazing plan, but if you don't perform well, you're never going to get there. So the other thing we work on all the time is peak performance. And that is how you show up every day. How do you show up as the best version of yourself? And I help develop tools to do that. So they create awareness, intentionality. You learn how to self-detect. So when you're off path, you quickly go, wait a minute, this is not where I wanted to be. And you adjust, right? And you become objective about it. So it's emotional intelligence training. So daily you learn how to get up and be disciplined. I would say discipline is probably the biggest key and the biggest challenge for most everyone. But if you get up and you're disciplined and you do your routine, I get up and I pray. Then I do a check-in with myself. I ask myself, how am I thinking? How am I feeling? How am I breathing? So I just do an assessment. Then I do some breath work, I do some meditation, and then I read over my passions, these things I've created, these statements that remind me who I am and who I want to be. That's most important. Then I do a list of affirmations that tell me what do I need to be, do, or have to make that passion a reality, right? And in this process, it's constantly training my mind. It's creating those new grooves, the neural pathways that I'm training myself to become who I want to be and to do and focus on what I want. Those are the two things. And if you do this consistent, you get to a point where not only do you get good at doing it because it's been long enough, but you start to realize the patterns of like, oh, wait a minute. Being successful and being disciplined doesn't mean being perfect. It means showing up. It means being aware when there's a problem and making the adjustment. It means being objective when there's a problem, not emotional, and seeing that this is for my betterment. And you just start learning how to turn those levers instead of every time a lever or something happens you don't expect, instead of getting knocked off, you go, oh, wait a minute, adjustment. Okay, I'll be better now. I trust, and you just keep moving forward. Right. So it's that discipline daily showing up. Otherwise, you're never really going to get there. You're going to get some version of there.
I love that, and I think that resonates with me because we just started a team challenge. I actually didn't succeed, so I'll just be really put my hand up. I didn't succeed. It was to have a daily ice bath as
I love it.
discipline. So discipline was one of our words. Every Monday we have a keyword that
Nice.
we practice, right? But
Hmm.
mine was, I said, okay, I didn't succeed with the ice bath. I did it for 2 days, and then I was like, no, I can't do it. Um, it's. I don't think I'll ever enjoy it. I'm just surrender to that, Catherine. Surrender,
That's
right?
awesome.
I will
How long
never
were you
love
trying to
it.
do each day?
Sorry,
How long were you trying to do each
five
day?
minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes is a good one. Is that starting out? Have you ever done this before? Or just starting out at five
Oh,
minutes?
yeah, no. I have. Well, I normally, what I used to do is go to the beach every single day, go for a walk for an hour, and then go in the water every day, right through to
Okay.
winter. So the water, the
Yeah.
ocean is really cold.
Oh yeah.
But we've
Yeah.
got an ice bath now in the office, so everyone has, they can take a break and have an ice bath. But
Hmm.
we have five
Yeah.
minutes, and it's only, I mean, the guys have hit 6 degrees, so 10 degrees is as low as I've gotten
Yeah.
in the ice bath. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Wow.
cold. I don't think, but I think
Yeah.
it's just once again, it's about accepting that you'll never enjoy it. But
Hmm.
it's once again, it's that discipline. But yeah, I love the discipline. I have my little morning routine, and I said to the team, well, at least I still do that. That's a discipline. I'm still living and breathing discipline. I'm
Yes.
curious about prayer. When you mention
Hmm.
when you first wake up, I love hearing
Hmm.
people's little habits, morning habits, and I love the fact that you have your own because I think this is really
Hmm.
important because you hear sometimes some individuals, and nothing against those individuals, by the way, but
Sure.
this is what you've got to do to be a success. You've got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. You've got to do. Actually, that's not for everybody. So I love the fact that
Right.
it's what works for you. I get up at three,
Hmm.
4, every morning, but that's what
Yep.
works for me. But
Yep. I'm
prayer,
5 a.m. We're those early risers, right? Getting to it. There's a lot
yes,
of good life to live.
yes. Prayer is
Uh-huh.
one that I'm curious about because
Yeah.
I know. Are you? So I'd love to understand if it's okay that I'm asking this question
Yeah.
about the practice of
Absolutely.
prayer,
Anything.
because we have had this conversation quite a few times in with some of our students as well, because you talked about the practice of faith, like a daily faith
Hmm.
practice.
Hmm.
Where I find that sometimes people pray for something to take place, right? It's almost like,
Hmm.
for me, from my understanding, it's like, can you please give me more money? Can you please, make my relationship better,
Yeah.
And it's almost like they're projecting that
Hmm.
it's not, that their relationship is not good or they don't have enough, right? When
Yeah.
actually our
Exactly.
natural state is abundance. So I'd
Yeah.
love to understand your practice. What exactly, when you say you have a prayer practice, I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, awesome. Let me lead in by saying this too. So, my journey of faith, my relationship with my faith has evolved my whole life. I was very blessed. My parents are my best friends. They're incredible, and they've done a good job of guiding me. My whole childhood, we'd sit down and talk about things all the time, every day, and anything happens, sit down. How'd that make you feel? What's going on? So I was always given a voice. That gave me a lot of confidence, which I know is important in development of anything. A lot of areas when we're missing in life or have resistance, I find is because we've not been given a nurturing way to learn or experience that and make our own decision. I was blessed in that way. So my parents, I was going to church when I was young. I got saved and baptized when I was just a little baby. And then I actually asked to have that done again when I was about 12 years old. I just felt called to do it. I wanted to do it and it was important to me. I've gone in and out of my journey of faith. I've never left my faith. It's just there's been times where I was more devout or more into it and went to church and times where I didn't. But I've always been close to God. I've always prayed and I've always had a practice of learning about it, like learning about meditation, learning about like just different things that help me understand why I had this relationship, why it was in my heart, why I felt this calling, and why I felt that there was a God and all that. So that's one thing. The second thing is, a lot of people hear that and they think, oh, this guy's been on this path. That's just his life. It's not really. I've been all over the place. I've had my doubts. But one of the things that's incredible is how God guides me. And I mean, it's clear. If I'm going through something, I ask for something, it's so clear that it shows up. And my friends and stuff around me are like, we can see you're blessed. It's kind of crazy because I'll be like, don't worry. We'll pray on this thing. I have faith. I do all my work and leave it, and it happens. But here's the other thing about it that I want to say before I tell you about the prayer is that the other reason that I know that God is there and the Holy Spirit's in my life and guides me is it scares me at times. Not as in like, oh, you're scary, but as in the big things he puts in front of me and I get called to do. I'm like, I don't want to do that right now. It's like, you're going to do it. And they're amazing opportunities, but he's constantly stretching me. Things I would never see. And boom, here comes this opportunity. I'm like, oh man, now I got to step up. I get a chance to level up, but I got to take on these challenges. And there's such a draw to do it, and it's something that I hadn't thought of before, just drops in front of me. So it's really kind of a deep conversation, but really incredible. So prayer. It's funny, a lot of people do that. They go to God in prayer only when they need something. Oh my God, I'm sick. Please help me get out of this sickness. Or if you help me, this person fall in love with me or help me find a job. That's not really, you can take your request to God and then he asks for you to do that. Another part of that is when you make your request, they're done. If you're going to God and asking for something, he says all over the Bible and everything, once you make your request, understand it's done. But people go back and back and back and back and back, and that shows that you don't believe and you don't have faith and you doubt, which affects, kind of your blessings. But prayer shouldn't be a request, it should be a relationship. So prayer is about a relationship with God. So when I say prayer, I kind of live in a prayer all the time. When I wake up in the morning, I just wake up and give gratitude for the day. I wake up, say, hey, thank you for another wonderful day. Thank you for inspiring me, for letting the Holy Spirit dwell within me and hold me accountable today. Show me where I'm supposed to go. Let me see and meet the people I'm supposed to meet, and let each step I take be on firm foundation. So it's inviting God as another peak performance. It's part of what I believe, but also another thing. It's like, man, why would you not take this in? Why would you not take this incredible power, this gift, the thing behind you that says, I'll be there to guide you, and bring that in as well? And every time before I talk to a client, before I do an event, as I go through the day, I thank God. I don't ask God for things. I thank him. Thank you for, like this. I said, thank you for heading me into this great opportunity with Catherine. I thank you for being an amazing conversation where we get to engage together, become friends, and impact people that I don't even know right now. So it's more of gratitude. And then I'm in conversation, just like it would be I'm very close with my parents, just like I would call and talk to them. Hey, God, I'm going through this thing right now. Sometimes we bicker a little. Sometimes I share things. Sometimes I'm like, hey, but it's not just requests. It's literally a conversation with a friend. And the more I've grown close to where I'm talking to someone, just like I'm talking to you, the more I've felt inner peace, the more blessings and abundance have come in my life, and the more I've been called to serve other people and opportunities keep being put in front of me where it's like, okay, you've proven you can do this. Let me give you more people. Let me give you more resources. Let me open more doors.
But you don't ask for it. It just happens. It's more so you're not asking God to, I'm ready to level up now. Ready to, it just happens for you.
Yeah, I mean, there are things that I will put out. Like I have a morning routine. I kind of look at it like this. This is the way I kind of see it. There are definitely things I take to God, and I'll say, when I have an idea at first, like right now, I'm launching some big stuff we'll talk about in a few minutes, but I'm like, thank you, God, for giving me the opportunity for this, for inspiring me with this. I thank you for showing me where I need to go. I'm praying a bold prayer that I want to be this. I want to do this. Help me accomplish this. Show me what I need to do. So there are those times I'll bring him something and talk about it. But again, it's how a conversation happens naturally. So it's not an actual, I have to sit down and practice this today. It's when is that coming up in our conversation? Maybe I'm going through a time of doubt. Maybe something new popped up. I'm like, oh man, is this me or is this you? But what I believe is that God gave us this beautiful body, our temples, mind, body, and spirit, and everything dwells within us. He's like, this is your responsibility. I've given you everything you need. I'm here to support you, but it's your job to take care of this. Like if your dad or your mom bought you a car and said, here's your car. I got you, and I'm always here if you need something, but this is yours. Learn to take care of it, to service it, to put gas in it. It should take you where you want to go. That's the same thing with our body. So it's my job every day to get up and remind myself who I need to be, not to go to God and tell him to do more work again. I get up, remind myself, here's who I want to be. These are my goals today. These are my intentions. Here's the affirmations, the mantras, the things I want to do, and remind myself to work on it, be. So I take on that personal ownership. So I'm taking action and not just always praying or visualizing and sending out somewhere else for somebody to do the work. It's like you got to take action, you got to do the work.
And so, do you ever hear? Because I do, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs and business people, just like yourself. And I find that sometimes leaders will hit a ceiling. So we all do it. I even know myself. You know, like there's a certain a ceiling where you might even like experience doubt, self doubt. Which I love the
Yeah.
fact that you were so vulnerable and say that, because I think people will look at people like yourself and myself and go, oh, they've got all their shit together. And
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
no, we don't. Well, I don't anyway. I'm not going to speak for you, but I can speak for
Yeah.
myself. Right. So, and it's like, oh, Catherine, I thought you'd be done with this. I'm like, oh, we're never done. I think it's like saying we'll never, I mean, yours, it's like if I say to myself, I'm done, I'm not allowing myself to evolve or grow and expand. And that's what we've come here as souls
Mhm.
to experience and expand.
Mhm.
But what do you, I'd love to hear whether it's personally or whether it's working with leaders or entrepreneurs or individuals, when they hit that ceiling, I think we all have a ceiling at some stage or
Mhm.
some point of our life. When
Mhm.
they hit that ceiling, what question do you ask yourself or do you ask them to help them unlock that next level?
Awesome. Great question. It's funny. I feel like this all keeps leading into spirituality. Really, the reason this is happening is because this is the thing that most people aren't really good at and don't really do, right? Like, I'm so into peak performance. So forget everything else. Just look like my driver is like, how am I the best at everything I do? And in a healthy way, like, how can I be the best version? How can I be the healthiest? How can I improve my sleep, improve my diet, improve my relationships? So I'm always seeking those things, right? So I've been doing this a long time. When I started coaching because I was good at doing sales back in the day. I had different jobs where I just was great on the phone, great at sales, great at writing scripts, great at managing people. And so it all started out with like, performance metrics, like, oh, I'm training a sales team, I'm developing a call center, I'm teaching managers something. But then I leveled up and it went from like career and money and sales to, oh, let's go a little bit more like psychology. Oh, it's your mindset. You got to have your mindset right. And you got to learn about rapport and communication. Then I was like, oh, wait, it's not just that. It's got to be wellness because if you're not healthy and a bunch of stuff's going on outside here, then you're not even showing up to work right. So now we're looking at your health and like, oh, your health, well, how are your relationships? It just kept building, right? And it's like, oh my gosh, we got to do all this stuff. And then I started to really realize the component that was missing. And going back for a minute, what's interesting was, going about maybe 15 years ago, 12 years ago, I'd be working with clients and we'd get incredible results, but we'd hit a point, like you said, where somebody's like, oh, there's something missing, or how do we get to that next level now? Like you're doing all this stuff, every metric is great, everything we're recording, but you're not feeling it. Why are you not feeling fulfilled? And I realized it was their purpose, it was their passion, it was the connection with what they believed in about why they're here. Because it's like at the end of the day, I always tell people now the highest thing we work on is what is the impact you want to make in this life? What's the legacy you want to leave and why? And so we start looking at it and very quickly, like everybody comes to me and says they want to double their income, they want to scale their company 2, 3x. And within 6 weeks of working together, they're like, Brett, the money doesn't matter. It's about who I am, who I want to be for my family, who I feel like God has sent me here to be. And I'll tell you, I don't start, like when we start working, I don't bring up faith. I don't talk about God a whole. I don't go into this stuff at the beginning. I wait until it comes up as a conversation in the process. And I'll tell you, as I've gotten better at it and as I've gone through it, it comes up sooner and sooner and sooner, and it's crazy all the time. But we'll quickly move through the other things if people get to a point where they're like, hey, I've had this bad experience with faith in the past, or I feel like I'm alone all the time. I don't feel like anybody's got my back, or I'm not really sure why I'm here. And we start going into those kind of prophetic questions, right? And it quickly comes up, and it ends up being that the difference maker is what is life about for you? Why do you think you're even here? These people, most of my clients are, they're making a million, five, $10 million a year. They're doing really well. They've got everything they need on this planet. Sometimes maybe not a partner. They're going through relationship stuff, which again, it's like relationship, all the relationships, from here and there and in and out. But all the other stuff, as far as careers, health's good, hobbies are good. but they don't have the relationships together. They're alone in the world. And when we get to it, they really feel like no one's got their back, no one understands them. There's no calling, there's no point, no purpose, no plan. And so when we identify with that, everything shifts. All of a sudden, the person feels the greatest sense of peace they've ever had. They look at everything different. All of a sudden, they're like, I am enough. I'm who I'm supposed to be. I don't need to be doing more. They start being like, how can I serve? How can I make an impact? What can I create in my life for others instead of another car for me in the garage or another home somewhere else? Right. And that's really what I find from it.
I love that. And I wonder if, have you noticed that shift as well as your faith has expanded as well? And you're doing more of the practice of the daily practice, connecting with God on a daily basis. Because I always think that, obviously as we evolve, we attract certain different, I know the clients I'm attracting now
Absolutely.
very different than what they were even
Yeah.
5 years ago. Right.
Yeah.
And I know
Yeah.
that that's also probably got to do, well, no, not, it's got to do a lot to do with my inner, uh,
Mhm.
infrastructure, right? It's the things that I do now, the things that I believe. And I think I love the way that you spoke about that too, because I see that too. Like I see people, um, are really good at scaling their business, very, very, really successful. But when it comes to life or love, there's this massive block, right? So, and it's very external. It's like because to me, success is external.
Mhm.
Achievement is more like an internal driver. And you're
Yeah.
right. A lot of people that are really successful still feel lonely,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Numbers are easier to control than people are.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if I can hit something on my computer that's all keys and numbers, I don't have to talk to anybody, and then it transacts something over here, and I can make money from that. Oh, that's fantastic. That's just all numbers. There's no emotion in it. It's all logic and strategic, and there's no emotion. There's no emotional intelligence. There's no coping. There's other people involved. There's no straight like so people get really comfortable at making money and making money everything, but they don't look at money as like an energy, right? Everything's energy. When I talk about wealth to people, I'm like, you got to change your mind. I'm like, because you're looking at the number in your bank account as equaling success, and that's not it at all. Some of the most successful times in my life, I wasn't making a lot of money, but I was having a tremendous growth and abundance and happiness. And so you asked a question a second ago. So yes, it has changed for me, the relationships and the people that come with that as I've grown in my faith and my practices. But here's what's amazing about it. People were asking for it unconsciously and consciously a long time ago, but I didn't feel comfortable to bring it up. 15 years ago, when I'm working with big executives at companies and stuff, I was like, I'm not going to talk about religion or faith or God at all. Like, I was like, I can't do this in these spaces. And then I went through a growth process myself where I started to realize I was holding myself back for the exact. So when I'm coaching people, it's the same thing I went through. I'm like, I just did what you're doing. I did this a long time ago, and I made these changes, and I've just seen this open and open. And now I've been doing this for thousands of people. I'm like, this was the step that everybody's like, what? They're always like, what is the thing you would teach somebody? Where's the blind spot? What makes you different? I'm like, it's this. And so I got to where I was courageous and like, you know what? How do I bring this into the conversation? How does it become valuable, not forced? How does it become something that's in flow? And I just had to understand where the blind spot was or where the place was the person needed to explore for that to become their journey, guided by their faith, not mine. And I tapped into figuring that out. So it's just become now it happens easily.
So when you're talking about the blind spots, which leads to the conversation that you're talking about faith
Mhm.
and God, is that would it be a fair statement to say that most of our blind spots, that's where our blind spots sit? From a like if you're talking about faith and God
Mhm.
and that spiritual practice, is that what you're seeing? Because it sounds like where obviously before you've been more vocal about it, it was coming out anyway, unconsciously,
Mhm.
consciously.
Yeah.
Is that a fair statement to say that most of our blind spots is based on maybe not having enough faith or belief in God
Um,
or spirituality?
I would say faith, but not just religious faith. So you can put it very simply into faith as a word. Some of it, yes, is faith, there, but a lot of it has to do with belief in yourself, that faith, right? And so here's the thing about it too, if I were to kind of put it as like a high level, like a pie chart, you know, um, if you had the whole pie, if only a little sliver of it was, where the questions to ask where you're lacking faith, even though it's a small area, it will make the biggest impact because it covers everything. So more blind spots happen in other areas and all over the place. but they're kind of like the adjustments you need to make to your performance, and they will make a difference. But that one makes the biggest adjustment because all of a sudden you're not alone. Like I see people go from like struggling, being alone, no hope, like not having hope, no fulfillment, no inspiration, not feeling there's a path forward. I hear all these things like, I've just been doing it so long on my own. I'm so tired of fighting. It's exhausting. I'm done. What's the purpose? Who am I doing this really for? Why am I even here? And it's funny because that one answer, that one relationship goes boom, and all of a sudden, like those, you don't ask those questions anymore. They become different questions. How do you want me to do this? Where am I supposed to do this? Can I do this? Right? But it's amazing how it shifts the perspective and the conversation.
I love that. And what is the difference between purpose and passion? Because they're almost
Yeah.
intertwined for me.
Yes. They really are really the same purpose of passion. I kind of use them the same way. Like passion kind of like is like, obviously people think of like the fuel, like as a personality or an energy about something. I'm passionate about something, the adjective. But I really look at them as the same way. Because like to me, so this is what I feel like is like your purpose is just why you're here. Just boom, you were here to be this and to do this. That's purpose. Like for me, I am here to be the bridge. I'm here to help people from where they are to where they want to be. And that's in every area of life, whether it's relationships or health or faith or anything, your career. I'm going to help you meet you where you are, no judgment, and help you cross to the other side. That's my purpose. My passions, like what I teach people, because my main thing I do is helping people discover their passions and use those as the lens to perform, to execute in life. So passions are the deepest rooted drivers that make you who you are. Like I always say this, like there's a lot of things that are valuable to us that are important to us, right? Like it's important to me to look nice. It's important to me to, like having good hygiene. I like having my house clean. I like cleaning my car. I like my stuff organized. Those are really important to me, but they're not my passions. So they're values in a relationship. I want to have these certain things in our relationship, but then there's some things that are vital to a relationship to me, like good communication, respect, healthiness, laughter, like things like that. Those are passions when it comes to the relationship. So to me, I help people find what those most important passions are that are like, man, if I could have these five things in my life or some combo of a couple of these things at a time, I'm living extremely inspired and fulfilled, which leads me to my purpose.
So passions almost sound like what you value, right? You values the
Yep,
things that are
exactly.
important to you. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And the passions are the most important of all the values.
Yeah. And obviously then you would have different passions depending on what area of your life you're focusing on because you obviously work with different people, whether it's health, whether it's relationship, whether it's business.
hmm
Yeah.
hmm You
Yeah.
do. So what we do, like we do a lesson where I work in six areas of life at all times: career, relationships, health and fitness, personal growth, spirituality, and hobbies. And so we do this lesson when we first start out so that I'm coaching them through their lens and their desires, not mine. And we go through each area of life and determine what those passions are. What we do is we figure out what's most important in every area, and then we make one big list, mix it all around, and say, of everything you looked at, what are the most important? Because it's easy to like feel like you have to put energy in an area because something was on the top of the list in the hobby area. But maybe overall it's like number 20 on the list. Maybe you've got 10 passions in relationships and 10 passions in your career that are the most important. And somewhere way down here is the hobbies. You don't want to say you got to put that one up there because it was number one in the hobbies. That makes sense? So it's about really figuring out the combo. Otherwise, what happens is you get a version of a passionate life. And you can see it. It's incredible. There's such a formula. I just did this with one guy yesterday. We just got his things done. He was just like, he said it changed his life. He's been feeling so misdirected, misguided. He's like, I don't really have a target or a focus or something to guide me on who I'm supposed to be doing, like where I'm going. He's changing careers and stuff. We went through this process, came up with these. He's like, I can't tell you the difference. Like immediately, the weight of the world dropped off me. He's like, I know what I'm supposed to be doing now. Now I just need to figure out where I want to do it and how I want to do it. But that's why. So when you get those, it's how you're designed. It's not something we're creating out of the thin air. You're identifying deep, deep, deep in yourself, like, wow, this is why I am who I am. This is why I do these things I do. Why I'm feeling like I'm missing something because that wasn't in my life and I need it. Or why I feel overwhelmed because I need to move that thing out of my life.
And then I guess when you're low, when you're so aligned with what you were saying, with so aligned with your passion, you don't even worry about the how because the how then you become magnetic, right? Because you're aligned and you resonate with
hmm
the internal things that are important to you, and then naturally you'll attract things to you and not worry so much about the how, correct?
Yeah, you just when you know your passions, what you ask yourself is you go, okay, first thing we do is when you get them, because the passions are not going to be something like, go and be an insurance agent. It's more like mine. Like my first passion is helping individuals discover their passion and purpose so they can live a fulfilling life that leads to their destiny. So it's like, okay, how do I want to execute that? How do I feel like, how am I called in my life to go execute that? Because I could do that in many ways, right? I could be a social worker, I could be a doctor, but I'm like, no, this is the way I want to do it. So the thing is, after we determine the passion, to start going like, okay, how do we build a life around that? How do you start living these things daily? Like not in an uncomfortable way, in an ideal way. Like if you could do anything you wanted, like would you work one-on-one with people? Would you work in groups? Would you do it virtual? Would you be in a hospital? Would you be in your home? Would you be talking about, would you start to go through all the pieces and start to put that puzzle together? And the cool thing is because you're coming from this such a high level of passion, everything you're doing isn't work, it's inspiring. It's like, oh my God, like if somebody told you put this puzzle together and you get whatever's on the picture, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm putting together my dream home. And you're like, dude, there's the room, and here's the thing, and here's the floors, and what's gonna look like interior design. You just get so excited because it's clarity, 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 and it creates more momentum, more inner peace. You move from like, what should I be doing, and unmotivated, like, oh my God, there's not enough time in the day because I have so many things I want to do, and I'm so excited about, it. And you just start going. And then, like you said, things start happening because as you get more clarity, things show up, right? They show up because you know what you want and they show up because your unconscious mind is looking for matches all the time and it's kind of unconsciously guiding you to where you need to go. And that's how you get in the flow state. But when you're not doing any of that, it's really easy to see like, wow, why the world can be so resistant and chaotic because you have no idea what you want. And every time something happens or comes up, you doubt yourself or you say it's the wrong thing or you don't take the action you need. You're not using the tools you need to use. And we're like, geez, my life feels stuck.
I was having a bit of a giggle because I felt really I could connect with what you were saying. It's like a constant, because in our academy we have non-judgment, non-attachment, and non-resistance, and
Yeah,
so
love it.
and it's just allowing things to flow. So I'm very much resonating, but at what cost, Brett? Like when you're constantly like I find like I wake up like sometimes at 2 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm like wired because of those then going through, and then I need to write it down, and it's just constant, And then I'm like in the afternoon, I need a nap. It's
Yeah,
constant.
yeah.
Yeah. So flow, I think there's, well, and I'm curious to find out, is there, I mean, do you think that there must be, because I think with anything when you overextend, like with flow, it would obviously lead to burnout, which I've experienced a couple of times. So how do you balance the flow? Not forcing it,
hmm
because you can't,
hmm
once you allow this, I mean, I know just, to me, it just comes through and I might not sleep for days.
Yeah.
How do we control that? Like without controlling or stopping it?
Sure. So two things. One is flow shouldn't ever feel like that. When you're doing that, you're out of flow. When it's going and mind's going well nonstop, that means that you overturn the hose, right? Flow is you feel everything is moving, the river's moving you smoothly. So what happens is it's about creating disciplines to where you organize the flow into times where you turn it on and turn it off, or when you step into it not because anything's too much, right? Anything of too much. I think that there are resources and there's how you use the resources. And that's really important, right? So for me, I have a bunch of practices. Breath work is the most important one, I would say. Breath work is incredible. We do so much breath work with my clients. I haven't had a single person ever, not immediately, tell me how it shifted their state or helped them immediately with whatever it was. So like it just kind of puts you back into the present moment. Here's the thing. The way our body works, we know this biologically is fight or flight, right? If you get anxious about something, you're fearful about, stressed, whatever, your hormones kick and you got adrenaline and cortisol going through the body, and that's the hyper anxious, fearful, hormones, right? You got to turn those off. You can't think straight with those hormones in your body. You're a different version of yourself, and they're designed to make you anxious. They're designed to get you in high alert. That's not how you strategize. That's not how you're in flow. That's out of flow. So we use breath work to turn that off, to turn back on serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, to get back into a state of flow and go, oh, I'm present again. I'm here right now in this moment. I'm clear. And every time you do it, we have a practice where we do it when we use the practice. It takes you through letting go of the emotion, letting go of that feeling, getting clear, and then identifying the action you need to take. So we do this daily. And not only do we do it daily, but we set a check-in alarm every 4 hours. So you get up in the morning, do your daily routine, morning routine, and then you set an alarm for 4 hours later to check in. So my clients are doing this 3 or 4 times a day. It stops, the alarm goes off, and they go, oh, really quick, okay. How am I thinking? How am I feeling? How am I breathing? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I showing up how I want? What was my intention for today? We do breath work and we're back on track. And so the thing is, sometimes you show up at that moment, you go, oh, awesome. Yep. I'm crushing it today. I'm right where I should be. We do the breath work just to get refill the tank, get ourselves aligned and go. Sometimes you're like, holy cow, I had this plan this morning. I'm way over here. What am I doing? So you do the breath work, you identify the thing, and you're right back on. You're like, okay, cool. I might have had 3 or 4 bad hours, but we don't have bad days. We're able to make the adjustments quickly. So I don't have any clients ever saying like I had a bad day or a bad week. I'm like, man, that means you just didn't do the work and you didn't reach out to me because there's no reason we can't make an adjustment outside of tragedies, right? But I'm talking normal daily stress. Most of it's how we approach it. But that's what we do. So if you use the breath work and you use these check-in routines, you'll find yourself being able to control the flow. The only challenge is if you don't do the work. When my clients tell me they're stressed, they're like, I didn't do any breath work yesterday. I forgot to do it, or I kept selling myself a story that I couldn't, or I didn't do the check-ins when I was supposed to. And it's just completely equal. Did no check-ins, had a stressful day. Did the check-ins, caught myself, the day was great.
Love it, and breath work has become a bit of a thing. We had Dan Brule on the show,
Oh yeah,
talk about,
he's
yeah,
awesome.
he was amazing, and it's
Love
funny
that guy.
because, well, yeah, same. It was amazing because he was talking about the release, like taking a deep breath and excuse me, just really, and I was like, oh, I don't know what the team will be thinking of me if I did that all day long, but now we're all doing it. So you hear us go,
Nice.
like really
Yeah.
releasing. But what
Yeah.
kind of breath work do you do when you talk about breath work?
So yeah, I do a lot. I do a lot, and I do breathwork retreats and trainings and stuff all the time with people. But so I learned out of a group out of Bali called Breath Masters, and a big thing we primarily focus on is breathwork journeys, where we do somatic breath. And so like a lot of times I do 30 minutes to an hour long breathwork journeys. I mean, they're intense, but they're powerful. And so for myself, I have a lot of little mini ones I do throughout the day, 10-minute, 15-minute ones, and then like once a week or twice a week I'll do like longer 30-minute or an hour. But when I do like my morning routine or if I do a quick check-in, what I do is I do just two techniques backed up with a breath hold because you really want the breath hold. That's always like, you're building up your tank of oxygen to hold the breath, and that's what really gives you this experience of euphoria. Also gives you a moment to get settle in and let everything realign. But so what I do is I do breath of fire, breathing out the nose, just kind of like quick staccato breaths where you're popping your diaphragm, just we do it slow paced, and then I do it faster. So it would be like slow, boom, boom, boom. Then we do it fast, boom, 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 boom. So I do that for like a minute slow, 30 seconds fast. Then I do what I call a psychological sigh, which is two inhales through the nose and one exhale out the mouth. So it's like breath, breath, exhale, breath, breath, exhale. I would say it sounds like "We Will Rock You" from Queen, right? But so I
I
do
did hear
slow,
that.
fast, and then slow, fast at both. And at the end of that second round, I do a huge inhale and I hold my breath. I try to do like most of the time, I'm doing like, 2.5 to 3.5 minute breath holds consistently. But it's incredible how my breath has changed, how it's increased, what I experience from it. I mean, I can sit down and do breath work and solve a problem like, oh, I'm stuck on this. I'll do breath work. There's a solution.
That's amazing. I've heard about
Hmm.
there was my cousin's actually a doctor, and she was talking about when the thing is when people feel anxiety or stress, they are taught to breathe. But she talks about holding your breath as
Hmm.
well from a medical
Yep.
perspective and what it does to the brain as well. Yeah. So
Brings you
that's
back in the present moment. It switches the hormones and makes you be present, right? It's really incredible because we're designed so beautifully, like so complex, right? But it's funny because I always say most people run around about 60 to 100% of the time emotional and kind of anxious at some level. Like I always say, like if you think of a panic attack is like way end over here, and you're like your breath is all out. You can even pass out from it. Like it's breathing is so off. So if you think about it, if you have a low level of breathing that's off, like if you're breathing still off, like I'm not breathing well, I'm shallow breathing, I'm mouth breathing, I'm hurrying, I'm holding my breath throughout the day, you're causing anxiety, right? So you've instantly kicked on the wrong hormones. You've flipped on the switch and you've hired the wrong person for the job. So you're trying to get something done and you're never going to get there. You have the wrong tools. So you have to turn that back off. The minute you do that, your mind goes boom, it turns on a whole new version of you. You become present and you let go of the feeling of not having enough time. That changes everything in the way you start to perform. Like if you're like, oh, you're not creative if you're out of time. When you're out of time, you're anxious trying to find time. When you have time, you go, what should I do with my time? Or awesome, I have all the time I need to do this thing. So these little small adjustments, like one domino, like if you can pay attention and be disciplined, you do the check-in, you do the breath work, figure out what you need to do and start that all of a sudden, and you never have to worry. When you do it, your body will tell you what you should be doing next. You have to worry about like, what should I be doing? Do the breath work and see what happens. And you're like, oh my God. Because the thing is, you're asking the question from the mindset that doesn't have the solution. Then you do the breath work and you're like a different mind. It's like, I know what to do. This version of me knows what to do. Just get me back over here.
But that's dropping out of your head into your body, right? When you're doing breath work, because you're saying about somatic breath. So it's actually in your mind is where we get, caught in our loops and overthinking. But
Yep.
you do very much talk about breath and into your body. I'd love to ask a question around before we go to our three shiny gold nuggets, your retreats. So you
Hmm.
do sound as well in your retreats because I've seen that people wear these colored
Yeah.
headsets, and yes, I'd love to hear more about your retreats.
Thank you. Yeah, I love them. They are great passions for me. They're like if I could live doing retreats every single day, I would. I just love being in that space. I love what it creates, the environment and the atmosphere where people really surrender. They become so present. I create a space where you don't leave that presence bubble. People are like, my God, I don't remember what time it is, what day it is. I've just been here. I've just been here and healing and so passionate about them. So when we do the retreats, we do a medley of everything. So I do half day and full day retreats that I call Breath House, and I have Faith into Action. Breath House is kind of a spiritual, traditional kind of wellness event. Faith into Action is built around, we take a scripture and we do a wellness retreat, but it's based around that scripture and how that applies to your life. And again, the question of like, are you maybe missing that faith in your life that you're feeling alone and need to find your calling? So they're similar as in like how the structure is, but the context is different. And then I have full 7 day retreats, like immersive, where we go to like Tulum or something. Every retreat that I do, we always do group coaching. So we'll have a theme and we focus on what our intention and goal is we want to grow through and how we want to change. Because I make sure everybody that comes there is going to change. You're not just going to have a good experience that felt good. I want you to fundamentally transform. So we do the group coaching. I usually will speak for a while on a topic, then we'll break into groups and kind of work together and challenge each other. Then we'll come back and talk about it again. Then we do breath work. We'll do like an hour-long breath work journey. Everybody wears the headsets. My partner Jordan, he DJs, and we also play live instruments. So, and sometimes we bring in other facilitators. So there's really dynamic immersion of sound. We have like, we're doing different like sounds, different, sorry, smells like through the area to activate you. We've got me facilitating and guiding visualization through the breathwork the whole time. So I curate a very specific playlist and take you through a journey in your mind to take you whatever through that theme of that problem, like letting go of past trauma, finding creativity, and figuring out where you're supposed to go in the next chapter of your life. And I take you through a specific process. We go straight from that into what we call a sound journey, where Jordan starts leading. We both do this process together. We take you through a whole like a 30-minute to 45-minute sound bath. We have it's really cool when we bring people in. They do this with us. We've got 3 or 4 people walking through, facilitating, doing all this. And then when we finish, we unpack and integrate, and then we do like a dance party. We DJ and we play music that's in line with what we do, so people stay and we get up and have fun. So the whole day is kind of taking you through your chakras, through the learning experience, all the way up and lifting you. You start low, and by the time you lift and you're up dancing, you've broken through. You're a different person. We kind of celebrate. Um, they're incredible experiences. And last thing I'll say in this tangent right now, I'm really excited because right now what I'm working on, part of this process of being called over the past couple weeks, I was trying to figure out how to take all these ideas I had, these things I wanted to do, and make them cohesive. How are they going to harmonize? And a big thing I'm working on right now is service. I'm working with my executives, my clients about how do we go out and impact the world? How are you serving your community? Not just giving a donation, but going and doing something that fills your heart and really like helps an individual that you're seeing face to face. So long story short, God gave me, I was in a Brandon Lake concert like 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago. In the middle of the concert, I had prayed before I went and I said, God, I'm going to this concert for a spiritual experience. I just want to have my own healing, my own beautiful experience, maybe meet the people I'm supposed to meet. While I'm in here, if you could give me some clarity, I have all these things on my plate and I don't know where to go with them yet. So not my will, but your will be done. I said, give me some inspiration while I'm in here. literally in the middle of one of the songs. I'm hand up in the air, singing, praise, and having fun, crying. It's so beautiful experience. God's like, open a 501(c)(3, make a church. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'd never thought about that. Because, as a church here in the United States, we can do that. There's a lot of tax breaks and incentives, but there's a lot of support you get. And I have a lot of clients, a lot of people that wanted to get behind me and do something, but we didn't know how to do it financially and how to make it work. Where what we needed to build, we could build, and we also had enough to give, and the give really happened. And it's incredible. So now I'm doing this thing called the Bridge. We're building this church called the Bridge. And underneath that, there's going to be a men's group called Alchemy. There'll be 6 months of group coaching. It will end with a 7-day retreat. And in the between, we're going to do these 2-day retreats where we work with wounded warriors, St. Jude's, different prophets to help people and bring them in and teach the guys how to grow as an individual, to be a leader, and also how to grow in service. And we're going to actually go do the work, not just talk about it, but actually literally go in the field and spend days doing it. And so I'm super inspired about this next chapter because I know it's going to make a big impact and it's going to lead people to wanting to go do the same thing for themselves then.
Wow. I've just got goosebumps. I'm like, wow, that is amazing. I just,
Thank you.
yeah, in awe. That's beautiful. That's your next big calling that you're speaking about. It's leveling up big time.
Yeah, and it's all in play right now. That's the thing. It's kind of scary because it just keeps popping, dropping things on my plate. I'm like, all right, well, just add that in. Okay, great, we'll do this thing. But the thing is, the whole intention behind all of it is about helping. So even it doesn't matter how scary it gets because, like, what happens if you fail? There's fail forward. It's just about helping and growing.
I love that. I love failing forward. I've heard that before, but I've not heard it for a very, very long time. I love it. It's true. You fail forward because it's not about, to me, I think there's no such thing as failure. To me, it's
No.
feedback. So when something happens, we like this in our team, when something happens, like, okay, cool. So what did you learn from it? And what are you going to do differently next time? Yeah.
Yeah,
So I love that
exactly
fail
right.
forward. We should be using that more often. I love it. So Brett, I am conscious of your time and I love where this has gone. I love it, love it, love it. So Brett, we always
Thank
love to
you.
wrap up the show with 3 shiny golden nuggets. So what would be those 3 shiny golden nuggets that you would like to leave for our audience today?
Awesome. I'm going to give you a powerful technique. If you don't take any more of the nuggets, take this one because it's a really good one and it's simple and it will change your life. So the practice I shared that I do daily and also I do with my clients, the emotional intelligence training. It's a very simple practice and it's so powerful. You will change your life within a couple days. So I call it take 5 and come back better. So it works like this, whether you're by yourself or with someone else. Let's say you're with your husband or your wife and you're arguing in the kitchen or something like that. Or even if you're by yourself working on the computer and you start getting negative with yourself. If you're with a person, what you want to do is you stop. Like, it's like you're in the argument and you start to realize, like, I don't want to be this person. I don't want to be rude. I'm not being the person I want to be. So you stop and say, hey, sweetheart, you know what? I'm going to take 5 minutes to go clear my head. I want to come back better. I don't want to be this person. I want to respect you and have a good conversation. So you excuse yourself. Step outside, wherever you want to go, someplace private, just go some other area, and then take 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, and do some breath work. I tell people to do the 4-2-6 breath work technique. Super easy. You inhale through your nose for 4 seconds, you hold at the top for 2 seconds, you slowly exhale for 6 seconds. And just do that for 2 minutes. Just breathe. 4-2-6, 4-2-6. And if you really breathe and just slow the breathing down, you turn off that emotional thinking like we are talking about, the anger, the sadness, the fear, the guilt goes away. You become objective. You go, wow. You don't stop breathing until you feel that. But you'll feel like, okay, I don't feel that emotion anymore. And then you ask yourself 2 questions. You say, how is that helping me? And what am I supposed to learn from this experience? So I just got angry. I was yelling with my partner. I come outside. I clear. I don't feel the anger anymore. How is that anger helping me? Maybe it helped me not say something I shouldn't say, or I need to be better at that. What am I supposed to learn from this? That's the other question. Learn to be patient, learn to respect, learn to become a better listener. It will tell you the action item. That's golden nugget number one. I'd say do this. Do it every time you find yourself not feeling the way you want to be. When you have those conscious moments like, I'm not that person, go do that.
I love that. So that's what one, or is that
That's number one. That's number
one?
one.
What's number two?
Number two is super short. Forcing versus flowing. Just remember that in your life. When something's not going the way you want, stop and say, am I forcing things? And notice what you're forcing. I keep hitting the door. I keep not giving. I'm frustrated. Whatever it is. You're going to be putting too much energy into something and realize like this is not what I should do. And you have to let go and flow. And as soon as you let go, you'll start to get clarity and things will start to line up. So forcing versus flowing.
And then the third one.
The third one, I kind of mentioned this earlier. It's funny. When I said it, I remember it's like, oh, I remember this as a gold nugget. I always joke and say, if you're not seeing the results you want, ask yourself if you're hiring the right person for the job. And when you wake up in the morning, before you go do something, think about it. Am I the person for this job I've assigned myself today? Today I'm going to go do this. I've agreed to go do this thing, or I've said that this is my goal for today. If you're in a terrible mood, if you don't feel like you can do it, you have the confidence, then you're not the person to do the job. That person will never, ever produce the results you want. So it doesn't mean don't do the job. It means go get aligned first. Go do the things you do, the breath work, the take five. Figure out what you need to do before you put energy into something, because as you build it, so shall it live. So don't hire the wrong person for the job.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I think that applies, I think, for all of us. The very first one, take 5 minutes and come back better. I should have, I wish I had known that yesterday before I had my conversation. Brett, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show, for sharing your wealth of wisdom, for your time, your energy. I can't wait to hear how your leveling up project unfolds. Please keep us posted. We'd
Thank
really
you.
love to, and maybe get you back on the show once it's done, and see how, I guess what was the adventure, the journey through it, and what's come through, well, what's come
Love it.
through you, for you, and from you. I'd love to hear more about that. Absolutely.
I would love that. Thank you so much for having me on. This was a great conversation. I really appreciate it. And congratulations on all the stuff you're doing. It's amazing. We're doing good
Oh,
work out there, right?
oh, thank you, thank you, congratulations too. I think it's. I'm very much like you. It's always like, how do we be more of service, and really help people to tap into their own true power. Right? We're all creators here,
Beautiful.
and we all come here
Yeah.
to, like you say, align with your purpose and passion. So, I love what you do. Keep doing what you're doing, and thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Catherine. Happy
Thank you.
holidays.